This is Rating Descending,
where we watch IMDb's Worst 250 so you don't have to.
My name is Abigail Ward. I'm back, baby.
And my name's Michelle St. Clair.
And tonight we watched Halloween Resurrection. 3 years after he last terrorized his sister, Michael Myers confronts her again before traveling to Haddonfield to deal with the cast and crew of a reality show which is being broadcast from his old home. Let's watch. Yo, yo, yo.
Hey.
Get who back?
Hey.
It's me. I'm back.
Clearly very inspired
Hello.
by Busta Rhymes in the movie.
Whoa. Hello, me. Hello, everybody. Hello.
I mean, technically for the listeners, they heard you come back last week on Material Girls, but that was actually recorded like 2 months ago.
That was. Sorry, guys.
This is for us the first time you've been back since being on your honeymoon.
Well, I went on my honeymoon. It was great.
How's your moon? Covered in honey?
Honeyed. It was so good. I went to Tasmania.
Yeah?
It was fantastic.
Did you get that mania for good old Tas?
Oui, I actually did. I would love to live in Tasmania. I am the poorest I've ever been, and I spent so much money on lovely decadent things, and I'm so in love with the place. It truly was the best trip of my life, as you would hope for a honeymoon.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. I feel very, restored.
You feel refreshed?
Refreshed.
Renewed?
Body's still kicking me in the ass.
Bewildered?
You can't help that. Ew.
It's for you to welcome you back.
Oh my god.
It's for you. If there's a new listener, this is just fucking incomprehensible.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fantastic. I'm back with a vigor, with a lust, not for the podcast. I mean, not for these movies.
No.
For the podcast, yeah, but not for this.
So your mood, I assume, coming off the honeymoon.
A high. Yeah.
And then you watched Halloween Resurrection.
Big low. It really brought me back to reality.
Yeah, crashing back to earth in every way.
Truly am, yeah.
Yeah.
Some would call it hitting rock bottom.
What'd you think of Gaden's guest hosting? He tried hard to fill your shoes.
Well, I haven't listened to it yet.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
I know.
This is completely expected, and yet here I am calling you out.
But from what I hear, he replicated my arrogance, cruelty, and big titties.
Well, I was actually exactly gonna joke that the only thing he couldn't replicate was your big old blobbies.
Yeah, but good job, Gaden. I mean, there's no one else I would rather fill my shoes, but I'm back and don't even fucking think about taking my spot again.
Yeah.
I rule the roost.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Me.
I'm so sorry.
My podcast.
Okay. I'm so sorry, ma'am. Whoa, our whole podcast desk is shaking.
It is. The fury that I have. No, thank you, Gaden Souza. You marvelous, magical man.
True friend of the podcast.
Truly the friend of the podcast.
Yeah.
Honestly, the prime number one friend of the podcast.
To rip a term from a new podcast I've been listening to, he's an honoured friend.
Oh.
Honoured friend of the podcast, Gaden Souza.
He is.
I mean, hey, look, I, over the last few days, have gotten to watch like 3 different major pieces of trans art. The very famous, well, relatively famous, The People's Joker, which is a movie that was literally blocked by Warner Brothers, even though they're claiming that it uses intellectual property. The movie's creator, Vera Drew, a trans woman, is claiming it is parodic and under fair use. It's also a deeply personal work, and it is a beautiful movie that is both absolutely fucking hysterical and also made me tear up 2 different times, but especially at the ending. Incredibly beautiful resonant trans experience on screen, which is something you never get to see.
Yeah, I want to look it up.
It is technically I went to a screening of an untitled but legally distinct movie or something. Like it is still blocked from being seen, so you can't go and watch it. It was just that honoured friend of the podcast, Gaden Souza, knew that there was a screening happening in Melbourne, one of only 2 or 3.
That's crazy.
And invited me along. And then I got to see the comedian Anna Piper Scott, who was fucking hysterical, also a trans woman. And then a friend of mine was in a play, Ned Kelly, the Big Gay Musical, and just watching so much resonant trans art over the last few days really picked up my mood. I've been having a really hard time recently, and that really put it all together.
It's almost like representation does matter.
Wow.
Crazy.
The more you know.
It's as if you're feeling happy because you feel understood, because you get to watch the experiences of people like you.
Yeah.
crazy.
It made me feel seen, especially at a time where transness has come under heavy attack.
Yeah.
It has not
Oh, it truly has.
felt very nice being trans recently.
No, I feel like it's been in the news more than ever in the last couple of months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Republicans in particular are pushing it fucking hard as part of their big fascist push.
Yeah. Well, that's lovely.
But, I think to really celebrate your return, I've been workshopping. Now, I already presented this to you. Mm-hmm. I have already shown this to you. What I want to do is like crowdsource it to the audience because, I've heard different from other people. I've got a bit. It's the double denim bit. All right?
Guys. The first time I saw Michelle since when I'd gotten back, hadn't seen her in 3 weeks, maybe coming up to 4, maybe. And the first thing she workshops on me is this joke.
Yeah.
And I didn't like it.
No, Abby didn't like it, but I was happy with it because I've been trying to workshop a version of this joke for a long time now.
Okay, all right.
I'm gonna like put in crowd sounds here. When you wear double denim, that's called a Canadian tuxedo. But if you're in French Canada, it's actually a Denim Villeneuve.
It's getting better.
It's definitely like
But
when
it's
you just read Denim Villeneuve, it doesn't mean
But
anything.
like, what's Denis Villeneuve's tie-in to?
He's French Canadian.
Yeah, but
That's
I feel
it.
like it needs more of a tie-in.
He's one of the most famous French Canadians currently.
I don't know. I feel like if there was some
What do you
kind
mean
of
more of a tie-in?
if it was like, oh, what do you call a director in French Canada that wears a tuxedo? It's a so and so. I feel like there needs to be a bit more to string it all together to make that finale actually satisfying instead of being like, oh, like Denis Villeneuve. Oh, okay, yeah. 'Cause that's my reaction.
I'm not here for your notes. I'm here to crowdsource
Okay.
it. I'm here for the audience's
Well,
notes.
listeners, email us at ratingdescending@gmail.com.
Your thoughts on that joke.
With your thoughts on that joke, because I just,
Even if
you
the
wanted my
email-
opinion,
What I'm hoping for, not what I'm hoping for, what I know is going to happen is we're going to get scores of email that just say,
lol, 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 lol.
LMAO.
They laughed their motherfucking asses off.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. Do you ever
That's
think
so
of that?
painful.
Asses on the floor because they've been laughed off. They've been laughed off. Left, right, center.
Speaking of being laughed off,
Nice.
guys, this week we watched Halloween Resurrection. Listen, I liked the first Halloween, so I'm not opposed to the Halloween franchise.
Yeah.
I didn't realize there were so many of them
Oh, yeah.
and how deep on the list this was.
Yeah. This is 8, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, we'll go through all of them before we go into the overview of this, but at least it wasn't made post 2010s.
Yeah.
At least it was 2002. There was still a bit more
Despite
fun with it.
Being set at night, primarily, I could still see what was going on,
And
which is a huge thing.
Despite the fact that there was live recording, it wasn't a found footage kind of film. There was plenty happening.
They're kind
most
of
the
playing
time.
with the concept. This is a
Yeah.
proto found footage movie.
I didn't hate it.
You know?
I didn't. But I mean, when I was a kid, my older brother would like rent out a lot of horrors from Blockbuster, and I feel like a lot of my taste in movies was shaped by having an older brother.
Yeah.
And obviously, like if you're like an 8-year-old girl, your brother's 11. He's just getting into horror films.
Obviously, if you're an 8-year-old girl, your brother's 11.
Let me finish my sentence. Then obviously he's going to get into horror films when you're a lot younger than you should be seeing them. But I remember watching Halloween as a kid. It's a real favorite. It's got a great atmosphere. Fantastic film. Didn't know how low this franchise could go though.
Yeah.
Didn't know it got this low.
Look, we have become connoisseurs of Friday the 13th, if anything. I think this movie really makes the case for, despite I think the original Halloween, better than the original Friday the 13th. And it's not particularly close.
Yeah.
Halloween sequels, worse than Friday the 13th sequels. Because
Yes.
Michael Myers is only compelling in the original because he seems like a supernatural force, but he's actually just a guy.
Yes.
Right? When he is just a supernatural force, he's just a guy with a knife, and it's really weird.
Yeah. 100%.
It doesn't feel engaging.
You know what's creepy? The idea that this and that's what they played with in the first episode. There's this mentally deranged man who has murdered his sister and has escaped an institution. That's just scary. Like, that is scary. He's like violent. He is deranged. and he murdered his sister as a child. Like,
Yeah.
that's already a scary premise. And then apparently this isn't in my trivia, so I'll mention it now. Apparently they wrestled with the idea in like the third or fourth Halloween film to just get rid of Michael altogether. And then it's like, well, then what is it about? Just teenagers getting killed in Halloween? He is
wasn't part
the
of it
story.
because 2 is Season of the Witch, right? And there isn't Michael Myers in it because John Carpenter originally wanted it to be a bunch of different horror, like an anthology thing. And then the studio was like, fuck you.
Yeah.
No, it's going to be the Michael Myers
Once
thing.
they committed to making a few Mike Myers films and then being like, what if we just got rid of him and then we just made it about random things? That just doesn't, there's no flow to that. I feel like there's no...
I don't think there's flow to this.
No.
What I'm missing, though, from Michael Myers, why is he not a cyborg in space? Why is he not on a boat?
Where's the liquid nitrogen?
Why
to
is he
smash a
not
woman's head over?
in hell?
Open.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, in terms of the Halloween franchise, right? This is what we got. Just to go through them. Just so
I
we've
love
got them
this.
all.
I love when we go through lists.
Let's go through the list of Halloween films.
As the podcast's existence is proof.
We love lists on this podcast. Froth a list. I never see Michelle quite as excited as when a list gets pulled out.
Ooh, a list.
First Halloween was made in 1978. John Carpenter. We all know. Halloween 2, 1981. And by the way, Season of the Witch, was Halloween 3.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I think Halloween 2 does have Mike Myers again.
Oh, okay.
Halloween 2, 1981, directed by Rick Rosenthal, the man who directed this one.
Oh, wow.
And those are the only two that he directed.
That's so random.
Bizarre, right? Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, 1982. That's by Tommy Lee Wallace. Halloween 4, Return of Michael Myers. That's in 1988, and that was by Dwight J. Little. Then you've got Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers.
Hey.
That's from 1989, and it was directed by Dominique Othenengirard.
I assume his return did not go well.
I assume not. And then now we're up to the 6th film, Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. Came out in 1995 with Joe Chappelle. That was the director, Joe Chappelle. Halloween, now we're coming up to 1998.
Yeah.
And now this is the 7th film that's come out. And it's called Halloween H20, 20 years later. Sorry, 20 years later.
Is it not H2O?
I think it's H20. Why would it be H2O?
Because it's very water-based, isn't it?
Is it?
Why would it be H20? Oh, Halloween 20?
Because it's 20 years later.
Oh, that's...
I don't think it's H2O.
Aw.
It doesn't look like an O, it looks like a 0.
Oh, it should be H2O.
And that came out in 1998, and it had Steve Miner, and notably it had Jamie Lee Curtis return after not being in the film since like the 2nd or 3rd one.
Yeah.
I think she was only in Halloween 2, and then she came back for H20.
Sure.
And then she obviously came back for this film. Halloween Resurrection came out in 2002 by Rick Rosenthal. And then after this film, because the list goes on,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
we then also have the remakes by Rob Zombie. We
Yeah,
have
yeah.
Halloween in 2007, Halloween 2 in 2009. Then we've got another remake in 2018, Halloween. In 2021, we've got Halloween Kills. And in 2022, we've got Halloween Ends.
Yeah.
But it's guaranteed to not end, isn't it? It's just guaranteed to keep going.
Yeah, probably.
But that's all the Halloween films, right?
Jesus. there's
So
many
we're
of
on
them.
the 8th film. And in Halloween H20, 20 years later,
Mm-hmm.
dumbest title I've ever come across, it's about Jamie Lee Curtis's character, Laurie. Oh, what's her name? Laurie
Holden or Laurie
it's something. Starts with
Stiffy.
Strode. Laurie Stiffy.
Yeah.
By the way, with Laurie,
Yeah.
in the first one, there is no indication or reference to or idea that she is Michael's sister.
Yeah, that
So
came out of
when
fucking
this
nowhere.
tagline said he confronts his sister, I was like, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
And at some point, maybe in the second one, I tried to find exactly when, but at some point along the line, there's some revelation that she was his sister. And then apparently in the new remakes, the whole franchise have canned that. And they're like, she's not his sister.
Well,
and
yeah,
they never really explored anything about them being siblings. It's a really strange
Apart from the
throwaway-
scene in this where they kiss.
That was bizarre. And that's when he's killed her, by the way. That's when
Yeah.
he's stabbed her.
Which
and
was
she kisses him on the lips.
A very strange choice that I thought was going to come back, but no, it's just a opening that is unrelated to the movie that follows.
It's a big moment because she's in H20, and obviously at the end of H20, she kills someone that she clearly thinks is Mike Myers, and the film ends. and it's him that's dead, like dead at the end of that film.
Oh.
And now at the beginning of this film, they've reworked it, being like, but you didn't get him. You killed a random guy that was in his place. And Mike Myers still is alive.
But was that guy still trying to kill her?
I don't know. I think they made out that the guy that was killed was a mute and deaf man that couldn't communicate, and they put him in a mask. And I think he was still trying to kill her. I don't know.
What? That's so.
It's
okay.
crazy.
Yeah.
Here it is. It says, it was in fact a paramedic that Michael had switched clothes with and rendered mute.
Right. Okay.
Doesn't explain it. But no more questions.
Okay.
So that's the end of page 20.
Sure.
And then at the beginning of this film, Laurie is in an institution for murdering an innocent man. She's crazy, but she's not taking the pills they're feeding her. She's waiting for Michael to come back and visit her, and he does. But she set a trap for him. But wait. She ends up trying to take his mask off because she's afraid she'll kill another innocent man. And in that process, he ends up stabbing her and throwing her off a roof. They kiss, and then she's thrown to her death. And that's a huge moment because it is truly once and for all killing off the Scream Queen herself.
It's also called Halloween Resurrection, so I kind of thought she'd come back.
Well, there's trivia about it, but
okay.
look, Jamie Lee Curtis definitely did not want her to come back.
Sure.
That's why she made such a point about her dying.
Right, okay.
But so that's where we start, is the actual original protagonist is finally killed off in Halloween.
Yeah.
And done so in a really lackluster way, in a really annoying way.
What follows is a movie unrelated to that.
Yes, 100%. So that's the beginning. And that's just going through it. Now I'm going to give you the overview.
We haven't even gotten into the key details.
Oh. The only other key detail I can provide to you is that it was written by Larry Brand and Sean Hood.
Sure.
Directed by Rick Rosenthal, as I told you. The cast, we have a lot of interesting people that pop up in this film. We've got Busta Rhymes. We've got Tyra Banks.
Yeah.
Some of the kids are played by,
nuts.
like, Katie Sackhoff.
Yeah. I can't believe fucking
Battlestar
Starbuck
Galactica.
was in this.
And she's so girly and feminine and so not like Starbuck. It was so crazy. Bianca Kajlik
Okay.
playing Sarah, the lead. And then we've also got Luke Kirby playing Jim, who is like that kind of annoying seedy guy that's trying to make out with that.
The American Pie guy?
I don't know if he was an American Pie.
Well,
because what I recognized him from was The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, where he plays Lenny Bruce.
Because there's Biggs, Jason Biggs. There's the jock guy. There's fucking Stifler. There's the one who Stifler fucking hates. Well, Stifler's not actually in the gang. There's the dweeby guy that he hates, but then fucks Stifler's mum. There's the guy who pitches the idea of we're all gonna have sex before prom.
Not that guy.
Not that.
This is a different guy I'm talking about. The one with long dark hair.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. So that's the cast in this film. Here's the overview. Laurie Strode is institutionalized after murdering a man she thought to be Michael. She's prepared a trap for Michael's inevitable visit, but is killed anyway. On Halloween, a group of college students, including our heroine, Sarah, win a competition to appear on an internet reality show. They have to spend a night in Michael's abandoned childhood house in order to figure out what led him to kill. Sarah has been messaging an internet friend called Deckard, who watches the live broadcast during a party. Michael appears, oh my god, and in an order that I refuse to list out here, and in a way that I refuse to list out here, he kills the kids one by one.
Yeah.
Deckard realizes it's real and begins to give Sarah live information to help her avoid Michael. Michael is killed and Sarah makes it out alive. His body is taken to the morgue. However, as the coroner prepares to examine him, he suddenly awakes. And that's it.
It really is it. I mean, there's a lot of hay to set up the kids in the house, and then they all just start dying.
It took ages. And then, they all got picked off one by one. And it feels really stupid to set up who they are in the overview just to be like, this is how they get killed. And then they get killed over here. They try and get out here, but then they end up getting decapitated on the stairs. No one gives a shit.
Yeah. I can't believe he decapitated Katie Sackhoff with a knife.
That was the first decapitation in the whole franchise.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Most of the time people just get stabbed in the abdomen.
Well, mostly because he has a knife.
Yeah.
Not like a sword, not like a machete.
Just
he has a
kitchen knife, a good kitchen knife.
Getting through someone's head with a knife is not an easy feat.
Strength.
A lot of strength. Very long knife, I assume, as well.
Yeah.
You know? I feel like all these slashers have the same fucking structure, which is like around the first act, They enter the zone of death, is what I'll call it. But nothing happens there until the midpoint, where then they begin dying until there is only the final girl left. And then she sort of muddles about until the guy dies, usually by happenstance.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's how they all go.
Yeah. None of them were particularly interesting or exciting. There's one where the guy gets his head pressed until his eyes bleed.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be the
cool.
fucking Pedro Pascal Game of Thrones moment, but I was so freaked out. That is one of the... What?
Okay, this is crazy.
What?
I never realized Pedro Pascal played Oberyn.
What?
I never realized that was him.
Really?
The first time I ever thought I had seen him in anything was in Rogue One.
He's not in Rogue
No,
One.
that's Diego Luna.
Yeah.
No, but I didn't realize it was Pedro Pascal.
Mandalorian?
No, he was in Rogue One. Diego Luna was in.
Yeah, I know, but Pedro Pascal is the Mandalorian.
No, I haven't seen The Mandalorian.
Oh, okay.
That's beside the point. I never put them together.
Okay.
Ever.
That's crazy because we were talking about him being Pedro Pascal. That just didn't mean anything to us at the time, but I definitely immediately, because his character in Game of Thrones fucks so hard.
Pedro
I'm
Pascal.
so into him.
I'm also I think I'm realizing now that there's a greater issue at hand. I have always mistaken Diego Luna for Pedro Pascal and vice versa.
Really?
And I think in my head I've merged them as one man.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't realize they were two different actors.
Wow.
What's going on?
It's so fascinating because they look so different, I think. They're both handsome.
They are. To me, they both look very similar, I guess. Like rugged and handsome and stubbly.
I think they look different kinds of rugged. Like Diego Luna looks rugged because he has a beard, but he's got soft eyes. Whereas Pedro Pascal has like a little goblin face that he somehow pulls off into very handsome.
Wow. Fuck, that was a huge revelation.
That's a big moment for you.
That was.
I'm glad I could be here for it. There's a point where he kills one of the producers with a tripod, and it just made me go like, oh, is this going to be just like urban legends but worse?
Yeah. I was thinking about urban legends because of the film equipment, the young kids.
Yeah, and
the
you were
meta
finally
references.
realizing just how good we had it with urban legends.
Yeah, Michelle, you made your case and you didn't win.
I don't know.
Did you?
'Cause I showed it to honored friend of the podcast, Gaden Souza. He kind of agreed with me. He probably not as hard as I liked it, but he still liked it. He still thought it was
Because
good.
you went so hard, I also had to go so hard and hating it, you know?
No, you didn't.
Yes,
what do you
I
mean? That's not true.
Yes.
That doesn't
You tried to put a
have to be
case
how it
towards me.
works.
Yes, it does, Michelle. You don't know me at all.
We could just.
You
Yeah,
don't
right.
know me at all.
Yeah, you're right. Hey, Abby, we have to fight every time.
You're right. We've got to fight.
No,
I'm gonna double down.
I can't even trick her. Oh, curses!
Yeah, look, it wasn't the worst of the horror films we've seen.
It's
Certainly wasn't the best.
I think of the like because we've broadly split the horror movies we had to watch in the like Paranormal Activities wake and the pre, especially 2000s, but you know we've had some hot features from the 90s in terms of the horror.
In terms of the horror.
I think the only one of that like latter batch, the pre 2010 horrors that I think is worse than this one is Black Christmas.
Oh,
And that's both because of the transphobia and also because that is a movie that feels
horrible.
evil.
that has stuck in my mind too as a
Yeah.
real low point.
Real low point.
Just quickly, because we're talking about Laurie Strode being killed off.
Laurie Stiffy.
It's great to watch Jamie Lee Curtis in anything, even when she's phoning it in because she clearly doesn't want to be there.
Yeah.
I keep thinking about this story I heard where all these people, when she did come back for like the Halloween remake in 2018 as a cameo briefly or something like
She
that.
a cameo? I thought she was like fully in it.
Was she fully the lead?
I think so. I
Was
didn't
she?
watch it.
Dude, let's find out. Anyway, when she came back for Halloween, she was like, yeah, all these people are claiming that I copped out and I just did it for money. I sold Activia for years as if I need money.
She's great.
I love her so much.
She's so good.
She is truly just the coolest woman in Hollywood.
And she's so supportive of her trans daughter.
Oh my God, I didn't know she and Christopher Guest have a trans daughter.
Yeah.
I love Christopher Guest too.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's married to a baron as if she needs money from Halloween. Let's just
Yeah.
check. Oh my God, she's fully in it. You're right, with Judy Greer.
Oh, wow. God, what is it with movies and wasting Judy Greer's comedic talent?
Yeah. What the fuck? She plays Laurie Strode, the sole survivor of Michael Myers, suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. Where does this take place?
Just about. Do you mean when or where?
What the fuck? They've like basically pretended that this film, Halloween Resurrection, didn't happen and she's just living with PTSD.
Because I think that's part of it, is that like H20 was like, oh, Laurie's back, so we kind of don't care about them. And then they discarded that and had the Rob Zombie remakes. And then they were like, well, we're going to ignore those too, and also the original ones. And it's like, I think the latest round either continues on from Halloween 1 or 2 or something.
And in this remake, in the 2018 one, that's when they disregarded the idea that she's his sister. They were just like, nope, scrapping that, no way.
Good move.
But fuck it.
Doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make sense.
Literally, the beginning of Halloween is him as a little boy, which also means we know he ages, but he, as a little boy, killing his other... Is Laurie there, or are they distant? Like,
it could make sense that she was there, but what doesn't make sense is
she would know.
The fact that she as a character isn't talking about her brother that went to an institution and her sister that was murdered.
Yeah, and then like there's this guy loose, Michael Myers.
Yeah.
You know, the guy with a different last name, but's your brother.
A stranger.
Yeah.
The rest of the film doesn't make sense in that case.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous. The fact that they just tried to toss that in there a few movies deep. It's ridiculous.
But to be fair, Jason went to space. So I think that's one of the lesser crimes.
I actually think that Jason in space is more logical than claiming that she is Michael's sister. The liquid nitrogen head explosion
I know you're
is
obsessed
more
with
logical.
Look, I'm going to agree with you for the simple fact that if he went to space in like 2001 or 2002, whenever it was, right, then it would be gibberish. But it is specifically, he gets frozen and then reanimated hundreds of years later when they're in space-time.
Yeah.
Okay, you're right. There's more logic to it.
Yeah.
They're like, he's frozen and now it's space-time.
It's not like, the logic is like that the other films don't completely, like, it more than anything, it's the first film doesn't completely counter that theory. You know, that's what makes it logical.
Yeah.
Like, it's like if you got Friday the 13th.
Well, it kind of does, because...
And then you were like, actually, in the second one, she wasn't his mother at all. She didn't know him. She was just working at the camp. And they just have to believe it, because we're saying that's what happened.
To be fair, they all kind of contradict the first one, because in the first one, Jason Voorhees is a dead little boy, and it's just that his mum has a knife.
Yeah, but then he comes back from the dead at the end of the first one.
At the end?
The end is famous because she's lying in that canoe in that dreamy sequence.
Oh, yeah, and then the body,
and then he like plunges through the lake.
Yeah. But it's kind of gibberish.
I feel like, do you reckon that was the first time a horror movie ever did the whole, they're back at the end? Like, but he's not dead. Because that's the trope now. But was that the first time they did it? Because they don't do it in Halloween. It's not like he dies and then he wakes up again at the end.
Yeah.
But in Friday the 13th, the hand plunges through the ocean.
That's very true. You might be right.
The ocean, the lake. He pops out.
What I want to see, what remains unexplored, maybe we'll do it for the Halloween. I want to do another Halloween bonus, if not just so I can reuse that theme. But we now have two parts of the trifecta. We have not yet explored Nightmare on Elm Street, which I've never seen a single entry of. Yeah.
I didn't like it very much.
I know the second one's very gay.
Is it? I only watched the first one. And the first one was fine, but it didn't really grab me as a kid. I don't know why. I
think the third one is Dream Warriors, which I've always wanted to see because I will see any movie on Earth called Dream Warriors.
Yeah, fair call. Fair call, my guy.
That's so fucking rad.
That's rad as hell.
That's rad. Dream Warriors? That's so cool. I mean, he's just in dreams, of course.
I'm a dream warrior every night.
That's...
every single night. You know what I dreamt about last night?
What?
I had a dream.
But you don't have any dream powers.
Well... my imagination is my power.
No, everyone has that power.
Not like mine. I went to a bar in my dream and I brought Cassie with me and my cat Casserole. She's very overweight and she's black and white.
Yeah.
And she's very neurotic. But in the dream, she was super confident. And we get into this bar together and I prop her up on a little stool and she's sitting on her back legs, sitting up, and she gets a drink from the bar. And I'm like, you cool if I leave you here just so I can walk around and chat? And she was like, yeah, go for it. And she just sat at the bar drinking her drink very solemnly for like an hour as I socialized.
That's your dream power?
Yeah.
Is that your cat sadly drinks at the bar while you go socialize?
It was less sad. It was more pensive. Like, Like she was
Did
really
she put her like fedora hat down and go, another
it was
one,
almost
Jim?
as if she was like smoking a cigar while she was drinking. You know, it had that energy of like, I'm not sad, but I've definitely got a lot to think about.
That's your dream power?
Yeah, cats having drinks at bars.
Yeah.
That's cool.
You pitch this as you're a dream warrior, and
I am. And then I had another dream that Claude and I were walking along, and he said in the dream that he had a crush on someone, and I stopped and I was like, you can't have a crush on someone, we're married. And he was like, just be cool about it. And I was like, I can't be cool about it. And he was like, well, I don't have a crush on them anymore. And I was like, but you had a crush on them this year while we were married? And he was like, yeah. And I'm like, that's not cool. And he's like, just get over it. And then we ended up like having a fight, and I apologized. Dream warriors.
Dream warriors.
The newest episode on Dream Warriors.
It's a Law and Order : Dream Warriors. Dun dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dream Warriors. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. In the criminal justice system, there are two types of people: the dreams and the warriors who defend them.
Do you want to hear some trivia?
IMDb trivia.
Here's a zinger to start. John Carpenter has stated that the movie made him cringe.
Officially? Cringe.
Put me on record as cringing right now. He just tweeted cringing so hard right now. Sad face.
He actually posted himself like a YouTube thumbnail of like frowning with like crossed arms.
Yeah.
It just said cringe.
Yeah.
And then
You're not going to believe how much this director cringed. And
It
then
has
3 exclamation
all the
marks.
women in the movie are cut out to put on the thing just to like
Yes.
reinforce that women are what are cringe.
Yes. Jamie Lee Curtis was quoted as saying that she considered this film a joke. To go into a bit more further detail about that, she hated the idea of a sequel, as she felt that Laurie had a satisfying ending in the previous film. And we're talking about H20.
Yeah.
She initially refused to be in this film until she ultimately agreed to do her part only under the condition that she is killed off in the opening of the film, so as to make sure that her character wouldn't appear in another sequel.
Okay.
At the time of the film's initial release, executive producers tried to explain it by claiming Jamie Lee Curtis was so impressed with the screenplay that she wanted a large part in it. She has publicly gone on to state that this was not the case. She was under contract to do it.
That's so funny.
So sad.
It's so funny to just for them to be like, no. She loved the script, and then for her to go, nah, I agree
Yeah.
with John. It was cringe as fuck.
I think they said it because what happened is that upon reading into it a bit more as well, she was initially only meant to be in it for like 30 seconds, quick 30-second cameo. And then she was like, no, I'll be in it for 15 minutes if you make it a sequence about me dying.
Right.
Like, I don't want to come back. So she kind of was like, I'll be in it for longer if you kill me so I don't have to do this again.
Yeah, okay.
Rather than a 30-second cameo where I might come back for the next one. And then they took that as in, she loves it. She wants to be in it more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they had to put it there to explain the resurrection. You see, Michael Myers is resurrected because Laurie didn't kill him.
Which wasn't the case at the end of the previous film. Like at the end of the previous film, she killed him. And then they were
Yeah.
like, but it wasn't him. It was a muted paramedic.
But when you say it was actually someone else, that's a resurrection.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Apparently.
it. Yeah.
That's what the word
exactly.
resurrection means.
What if he doesn't come back from the dead like he has before? What if it's just the wrong guy?
What if she just didn't do it?
She just killed a random dude.
What if we actually made it that Laurie just killed someone fully and outright? She just killed she fully
It's-
cut off his head.
Such a stretch. It is such a stretch. The actual like audacity of this franchise over even Friday the 13th
Yeah.
is immense. Like I actually am more viscerally angry about Halloween as a franchise than I am about Friday the 13th.
Imagine Jason goes to hell, he gets dragged to hell, and then the beginning of the next one, they're like, actually, that was just some other guy. They put someone else in hell.
Actually, hell ended up being space.
Do you ever think of that,
Did you
liberals?
think of that?
Checkmate.
Jamie Lee Curtis appears in the movie cover with short hair, despite having long hair in the film. If you look at it more closely, you'll realize that it's the same picture of her that was used for the poster of Halloween H20.
They couldn't even get her into a photo shoot.
And it totally
Oh
is.
my God.
When I saw the poster, I was like, why does she look totally different than she does in the film? It is her with like the short cropped hair. Yeah, they just took the same image. They couldn't get her to pose for the cover.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's really funny. That's like the Alvin and the Chipmunks. It's the same renders every single time.
Yeah. Bianca Kajlik. I'm sorry, I'm not pronouncing it properly, I'm sure. She played Sarah. She was the lead. And by the way, she was in like Rules of Engagement, if you ever saw Rules of Engagement.
No,
it was terrible.
but can you explain something for me quickly? I should have expounded on it in the middle.
Yeah.
I think I got confused because in the beginning, I thought they kind of established that she has like psychic powers or something.
Yeah.
But that doesn't ever come back.
I don't know if it's almost like you're different because you're so sensitive. And you're like, oh, sensitive to what?
Well, because she screams and then a bunch of equipment explodes.
No, the equipment falls and then she screams.
Oh, okay.
And I don't think she has psychic powers, but they're like, she's particularly sensitive. And I was like, is she like the niece of Mike Myers? Is that the whole thing?
Okay.
No, it was nothing.
Because
It was nothing. She just screamed.
I think I just missed the order of a thing fell first. And I was like, she's psychic. Instead of thinking she's screaming at these things.
What happened is that something fell and it sparked and she started screaming.
That makes way more sense.
But does it? Because someone dropped something and she went,
If a bunch of electrical equipment, like there's high voltage, I'd scream because I'd be like, I'm gonna die.
it was almost like in the process of it falling, she started. It hadn't even hit the floor by the time she was screaming.
Because she did it.
She did it.
She did it. She was very upset.
Well, speaking of her screaming, that actress, Bianca Kajlik, cannot scream.
What?
And her screams had to be dubbed in post-production.
Why would okay?
Maybe she had an issue with her
Two different. But then okay,
vocal box.
why for a movie like for Halloween 8? Why hire someone who can't scream?
Same question as why would you get Christopher Lambert to play a Scotsman? You know?
You got me there.
Yeah.
You got me there.
This isn't the first time we've encountered such loopy shenanigans as this.
I can't scream.
Well, the thing is, I can't scream, McLeod.
Oh, that's great because me neither. Here in Scotland. It's just our favorite.
I love Highlander.
It's our favorite bit.
Katie Sackhoff
Yeah.
did not watch the entire film until late 2020, where she reacted to her own performance and the film on her YouTube channel.
Oh, wow.
We should watch that, by the way, as like bonus material because we love Katie Sackhoff. Though she had said in interviews that she went to the premiere with her parents, she had lied about it. Actually, wait. They actually just said, though she had said in interviews that she went to the premiere with her parents, because this next piece of trivia is about her at the premiere.
Oh.
Weird.
Maybe she left during the screening?
Maybe she did, because
We didn't watch the YouTube video.
Yeah, listen to this.
Maybe she explains it.
The director wanted Katie Sackhoff to lift her shirt and reveal her bra in one scene,
Yeah, I remember
but
that
she
scene.
refused.
Good.
So they brought in a body double to do it, but Sackhoff had no idea.
Oh, my God.
When she went to the premiere with her parents both looked at her in shock during the scene, thinking it was her. To make matters worse, according to Sackhoff in an interview, the double had much smaller breasts than her, so she was worried people might think she had small boobs.
That's... Okay, but she's funny. That's a bit, and that's a good joke.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
funny. That's a good bit.
Yeah.
I'm glad I know that because when watching that scene, literally all I could think is like the fucking contrivances that men seem to write into movies to like, because the guy she lifts her breasts to is such a like fucking sex pest
Yeah,
through the
he's
whole
gross.
movie that she's not into, and for her to suddenly turn around and flirtatiously start lifting up her shirt, I'm
Yeah.
like, no, they wouldn't do that.
No,
woman would
100%.
do that.
Wait, you're telling me we got Katie Sackhoff? Okay, let's write in a scene where she's lifting her shirt so that she shows her
my
tits.
sack off. Holy
my
shit!
God.
Yeah,
I love this piece of trivia because it's so particular.
yeah.
Michael's knife is a 12-inch Victorinox Forstner with rosewood handle.
Ooh, the Victorinox.
It looks like a kitchen knife,
It's a regular knife, yeah,
but it's a 12-inch Victorinox Forstner with rosewood handle.
with a rosewood handle.
Last piece of trivia. Rick Rosenthal cameos as the college professor.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, can you answer me? So Rick Rosenthal directed the second one.
Yeah.
Did he do much in between? Because one of my critiques of this movie is during that scene, we see him explaining like Jung theory, like Carl Jung
Yeah,
theory. And then, later there's even more fucking Jung references and stuff. And I even have in my notes, please tell me all these Jung references are the filmmakers doing a bit because oofed. Because it's such fucking like screenwriting 101 to take the guy that was like, I'll develop on Freud, and then everyone later was like, actually that's fucking gibberish. But screenwriters are still obsessed with Jung. I'm like, read one other book, guy. You're not being smart. I read it too.
I've met a lot of people that just cite Jung as like their favorite writer in general.
When I see it in
you don't read anything else, you just read Jung.
I just hate it because every time it's like, especially in a script, I'm like, you think you're being clever to cite one of the most like famous things as if no one has ever heard of it before.
Also, just to answer your question, this guy's just directed a lot of TV.
There we go.
Not really.
Well, that's where you
anything
really
film.
get into the Jungian archetypes.
Yeah,
you know?
that's right. Well, apparently he directed an episode of Buffy.
Well, that's good. Which one?
Will it tell me? He did one in season 6 called The Normal Again.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And he did one in season 7 called Help.
Okay, yeah. Those are decent episodes. They're fine. They're not one of the more like notable direction-wise.
Do you want to hear some reviews?
I would love to.
Reviews!
On Rotten Tomatoes, this film has an approval rating of 10%, with the site's consensus reading, "The only thing this tired slasher flick may resurrect is nostalgia for when the genre was still fresh and scary."
Nice.
Lou Luminick of the New York Post said, "It's so devoid of joy and energy, it makes even Jason X look positively Shakespearean by comparison."
That's what I've been saying.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Dave Kerr of the New York Times said, "Spectators will indeed sit open-mouthed before the screen, not screaming, but yawning."
Nice.
That's how the world will go out, not with a scream, but with a yawn. Peter Travers of Rolling Stone said, "Every sequel you skip will be 2 hours gained. Consider this review life-affirming." Joe Layden of Variety said, "Seems even more uselessly redundant and shamelessly money-grubbing than most third-rate horror sequels." Lots of scathing reviews out there.
Yeah, Jesus.
But on a lighter note, I've got 3 lovely IMDb reviews, all 10 out of 10. This one was left by Hustler for You, and it was called "A Great Sequel to a Great Franchise." Halloween Resurrection. So many words can express this movie. Halloween Resurrection has to be best sequel since 2. Brad Laurie, who plays Mike Myers,
Right.
pulls off The Shape. So excellent. He reminded me of Nick Castle. I am a big fan of the series. I came in with a smile, and I walked out with one. That's creepy. The movie is my favorite movie right now.
Oh my God.
Ever. 10 out of 10. Then we've got a review left by Lifehouse Fan 13 titled "It Rocks." This is an awesome film. It is the best sequel, even better than H20. Can't get better than this awesome artwork. The actors are good. The actresses are good. This movie is awesome. If you haven't seen it, then you better see it fast. It's worth $3.05, baby.
What?
It even shows some boobies. 10 out of 10. That was left in 2002, so I guess the film was $3.05.
is very specific.
And American money would make it.
That'd be like $40.
And here's the last review left by Motablan called "Cool." This was one of the best Halloween movies I've ever seen in a long time. The ones before this one were all right, but didn't really say much about why Michael Myers became the way he is. The fact that they were trapped in the house was cool. The killing scenes were cool. All except one. I wonder which one. But hey, the movie itself and the rest of the killing scenes makes up for it. The ending was cool. Kind of trippy though. And for some reason, I sense another Halloween movie coming out. But we'll see what happens. By the way, ever notice how the hottest chick always lives at the end? Take it easy, y'all. 10 out of 10.
What?
Beautiful words.
Beautiful, poetic, cool.
It was cool. Well, he titled it, right? Michelle, that was Motorbland's review. What's your review for Halloween?
Well, geez, I can probably Look, I didn't like it. I think it had some neat. It had more neat ideas than I thought they were going to be. Like it being like a live stream sort of thing for 2002. That's a pretty cool idea.
Yeah,
and it being like a reality show thing, and the producer Busta Rhymes coming in. It's wild that it's Busta Rhymes coming in, and also like I love at the end he has like a turn of like, hey, this isn't just a spectacle, as if that's like a moral turnaround. It's like he wanted to like make people have a good Halloween. That doesn't mean he's pro people getting murdered.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
He wasn't evil for working for a reality TV show. Yeah.
What he did that was unethical was not tell them that he was going to spook them out.
Yeah.
That he didn't. Anyway.
He was a fine guy the whole
fine.
time.
But I mean, look, he at one point karate kicks Michael Myers out a window. Then also...
He gets stabbed and is fine.
Yeah. She also tries to chainsaw Mike Myers, and it seems to, like, ricochet off of his jumpsuit, and he also parries the chainsaw with a knife. When he dies... When he's, like, in the fire and stuff, when it's starting, I was watching it with my darling girlfriend, Brooke, because she wasn't feeling well, and when Mike Myers gets up when he's in the fire, she just... like out loud went, oh my God, I can't with this guy. So annoying. She was so over him like constantly dying and coming back. And you know what? She's right. It is just at a certain point really irritating.
It's Halloween Resurrection.
Yeah, but it's bothersome and it's tedious. So I'm going to give it a 3. Bothersome and tedious is my review.
Halloween bothersome and tedious is the 9th Halloween coming out this year. Well, that's a great review. It was more enjoyable than other Halloween films, but I'm so sick of these fucking kids are set up in this location and then they get picked off one by one and one of them tries to have sex. It was like lame like 30 years ago and we're still doing it. Can't believe it.
Yeah.
I give this just because Jamie Lee Curtis was in a portion of it unwillingly, but she was still in it. I'll give it I can't say 3 out of 10. A 2.4 out of 10.
Yeah, that's very fair.
Well, that was our reviews of Halloween Resurrection. Well, that was Halloween Resurrection. Guys, we're on social media. I do this every time.
What? How unexpected.
You can find us on Twitter at RateDescendPod. You can find us on TikTok at RatingDescending, or you can email us at ratingdescending@gmail.com.
Or you can find us on our own social media. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Michelle.St.
And I'm on Instagram under Abigail J. Ward.
And pretty please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. They really make a difference.
Well, Michelle, that was Halloween Resurrection. What are we watching next week?
Next week, we are watching Mr. Magoo.
Oh. Okay.
Magoo. Magoo?
What is that?
It's Mr. Magoo.
Magoo.
Whoa. You've never heard of Mr. Magoo?
Shame on you.
Well, shame on you, Miss Magoo.
Goodbye.
Howdly do. I've got a story about Mr. Magoo.